Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, thank you all very much for joining in for our Bhagavad Gita study this afternoon. Let's start with the prayers. Om Ajnanatimrandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadhamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sarvana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजना सहितं श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगना ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रधायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरदुषे नमः पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूप स्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम् हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपीश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दिनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्यमीश्वरं हरिः ओं तत्सत्। गुरवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकाय तरालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Hare Krishna, thank you all for joining in, dear devotees. Now we'll start with Bhagavad Gita. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So thank you all for joining in. We are continuing chapter number 12 entitled Devotional Service. We are continuing from shloka number 11. In 12.10, we are seeing how Krishna is giving us a lot of options. If you cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then try to work for me. If you cannot completely work for me, at least try to give away a percentage of the results of your work to me, right? In this way, Krishna is giving so many options for us, right? And the later part of this chapter, we will find what Krishna is saying. What if we do and what if we cultivate? Then we can become very, very dear to Lord Sri Krishna. Right? Krishna is saying, whoever has these qualities is very dear to me. Whoever performs these activities are very dear to me. So if you want to become very dear to Krishna, then we simply have to follow, right? From 12.13, whatever Lord Sri Krishna gives as the qualities of those people who are very dear to Lord Sri Krishna. So if you want to become dear to Lord Sri Krishna, then we need to develop those qualities. All right, so let's move ahead from 12.11. Let me share my screen and devotees can raise your hands and we can start reading. Okay. Vrishabhanu Kanya Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Danvat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Danvat Pranam.
अथैतदप्यशक्तोऽसि कर्तुं मध्योगम् आश्रितः सर्वकर्मफलत्यागं ततः कुरु यतात्मवान्. Synonyms. पढ़ू माताजी. Synonyms. Atha, even though, etat, this, api, also, asaktah, unable, asi, you are, kartum, to perform, mata, unto me, yogam, in devotional service, drashtihi, taking refuge, sarva karma, of all activities, phalaha, of the result, tyagam, renunciation, tataha, then, kuru, do, yatra, yatatmavan, self-situated. If, however, you are unable to work in this consciousness of me, then try to act giving up all result of your work and try to be self-situated. Purport by Sri Prabhupada ki jai. It may be that one is unable even to sympathize with the activities of Krishna consciousness because of social, familial, or religious consideration because of some other impediment. If one attaches himself directly to the activities of Krishna consciousness, there may be objection from family members or so many other difficulties. For one who has such a problem, it is advised that he sacrifice the accumulated result of his activities to some good cause. Such procedures are described in the Vedic rules. There are many descriptions of sacrifice and special functions for the full moon day, and there is special work in which the result of one's previous action may be applied. Thus, one may gradually become elevated to the state of knowledge. It is also found that when one who is not even interested in the activities of Krishna consciousness gives charity to some hospital or some other social institution, he gives up a hard-earned result of his activities. That is recommended here, because by the practice of giving up the fruits of one's activities, one is sure to purify his mind gradually, and in that purified stage of mind, one becomes able to understand Krishna consciousness. Of course, Krishna consciousness is not dependent on any other experience, because Krishna consciousness itself can purify one's mind. But if there are impediments to accepting Krishna consciousness, one may try to give up the result of his actions. In that respect, social service, community service, national service, sacrifice for one's country, etc., may be accepted, so that someday one may come to the stage of pure devotional service to the Supreme Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita 18.16, we find it is stated, yataha pravrittihi bhutanam. If one decides to sacrifice for the supreme cause, even if he does not know that the supreme cause is Krishna, he will come gradually to understand that Krishna is the supreme cause by the sacrifice method.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Yeah, so a very important point is mentioned here, that sacrifice means not being attached to one's possessions, to one's resources, to one's wealth, right? So when we are attached to that, then what happens? We become so absorbed in getting more and more and more that our consciousness is totally fixed on getting that, right? So Krishna is saying, of course, we are not able to do entirely Bhakti Yoga, right? By doing Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam, we're not able to do, then at least when we are performing our work, we give a portion of that as charity. Why charity is recommended? Charity is especially recommended for grahasthas. Why? Because Charity makes us detached to material possessions. If you're working hard and earning money, and that money, when we give it to others, then automatically we're developing detachment to that money. When we develop detachment for something, then automatically we will utilize it for purposes which are according to our duty. Right? Prabhupada tells in one of the purports how the charity has to be given to a Krishna conscious person. Right? In the 16th chapter also, Krishna explains what is charity in the mode of goodness, what is charity in the mode of passion, and what is charity in the mode of ignorance. Right? Prabhupada says charity in the mode of Shuddha Sattva is to engage your money, your hard-earned money in Krishna conscious activities. Because if Krishna consciousness is given to everybody, if Srila Prabhupada's books are distributed to everybody, then everybody understands that they are not attached to this material conception of life. They understand that everything is temporary. So whatever I have, I should utilize it in the service of the Lord. So there is no hoarding, there is no enviousness, right? Automatically, this principle of Isha Vasim Idam Sarvam Yat Kincha Jagatyam Jagat Tena Taktena Bunjita Magrida Kasya Svidanam. That means one does not hanker for somebody else's property. One does not hanker to have this greed of accumulating more than necessary, right? So in this world, there is enough for everybody's need. Right? The world is so designed that everybody gets adequately according to one's need, but there is not enough for even a single person's greed. Right? Because if you want more and more and more, then there is no limit to how much we may want, and definitely we'll be frustrated because there is only a limit to which even we can acquire things. Right? Beyond a particular point, we cannot acquire, and that time it leads to frustration. So we need to have satisfaction, and only then there can be bliss, right? And how can we be satisfied? A person who is satisfied even with minimalistic things, right? If you are happy and satisfied with what we have, and you work within the means that we have or was allocated to us by the Lord, then we will be happy even with limited means. But if we have a lot of things, but yet we are not satisfied, want more and more and more, we will still be frustrated. So charity helps us develop that detachment. Charity helps us develop that satisfaction to be happy with what we have and yet engage in righteous activities, yet engage in the process of our duty to perform charitable activities according to time, place, and circumstances in the Shuddha Sattvic mode, like that. Okay, let's move on to text number 12. So even if you're not able to do that, then what does Krishna say? Okay, Shri Priya Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji pranams.
Hare Krishna pranams.
Text 12. Shreyo hi jnana abhyasa jnana dhyanam vishishyate dhyanat karma phala tyagas tyagachantirantaram. Synonyms: Shreya, better; he, certainly; jnanam, knowledge; abhyasat, the practice; jnana, than knowledge; dhyanam, meditation; vishishyate, is considered better; dhyana, than meditation; karma phala tyaga, renunciation of the results of the fruitive action; tyagat, by such renunciation; shanti, peace; anantaram, thereafter. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. If you cannot take to this practice, then engage yourself in the cultivation of knowledge. Better than knowledge, however, is meditation, and better than meditation is renunciation of the fruits of action. For by such renunciation, one can attain peace of mind. Purport: as mentioned in the previous verses, there are two kinds of devotional service: the way of regulative principles and the way of full attachment and love to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For those who are actually not able to follow the principles of Krishna consciousness, it is better to cultivate knowledge, because by knowledge, one can be able to understand his real position. Gradually, knowledge will develop to the point of meditation. By meditation, one can be able to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead by a gradual process. In the cultivation of knowledge, there are processes by which which make one understand then one himself is a supreme, and that sort of meditation is preferred if one is unable to engage in devotional service. If one is not able to meditate in such a way, then there are prescribed duties as enjoined in the Vedic literature, as for the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras, which we shall find in the last chapter of Bhagavad Gita. But in all cases, one should give up the results or fruits of labor, which means to employ the result of the karma for some good cause. In summary, to reach Supreme Personality of Godhead, the highest goal, there are two processes. One process is by gradual development, and the other process is direct. Devotional service in Krishna consciousness is a direct method, and the other method involves renouncing the fruits of one's activities. Then one can come to the stage of knowledge, then to the stage of meditation, then to the stage of understanding the super soul, and then to the stage of supreme personality of Godhead. One may take either the step-by-step process or a direct path. The direct process is not possible for everyone. Therefore, the indirect process is also good. It is, however, to be understood that the indirect process is not recommended for Arjuna because he is already at the stage of loving devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Lord. It is for others who are not at this stage. For them, the gradual process of renunciation, knowledge, meditation, and realization of Super Soul and Brahman should be followed. But as far as Bhagavad Gita is concerned, it is the direct method that is stressed. Everyone is advised to take a direct method and surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. So, very clearly, the process that is recommended is, like Prabhupada gives example of a lift, right? We directly get into the lift. We are in the association of those devotees who are also chanting Hare Krishna and performing devotional service, Shravanam to Atma Nivedanam. So, we simply have to stay in the lift and do what we are told. And then we will be taken to the ultimate destination of Krishna Prem. It's not necessary for us to, to fret and sweat and walk up the stairs. And then, sometimes we get so tired, we cannot walk anymore. We just want to sit down there, right? So in that way, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, they are all referred to the staircase method, right? One keeps on going up, up, up. Yes, of course, those paths also lead to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but it is a very, very difficult path. When the easy path of just being in the elevator and directly going to the supreme destination is available, why would one take the hard path, right? So the indirect process is very difficult. It will take a lot of time, and it is klesho adhikataras tesham, it is said, right? That means it is very, very difficult to perform this process of going from one yoga to another. First understanding, then, acquiring knowledge, then doing the process of meditation, then doing the process of renunciation, right? Very, very difficult to follow. Simply by attaching ourselves to the process of devotional service, automatically we will get detached to material things. Attachment to Krishna, the greater our attachment to Krishna, the greater is our detachment to material things. They are directly proportional, or they are inversely proportional. The more we are attached to Krishna, the more we are detached from material things. The more we are attached to material things, and we try to renounce it also, right? Dhyayato vishayan pumsam sangas teshu bhajayate, sangat sanjayate kamat krodot bhajayate. Dhyayato vishayan pumsam. For renunciation, what is the difficulty? We may try to say, okay, I don't want this, I don't want this. But our mind is contemplating on it. Why? Because the mind is not having a superior engagement. Right? Param drishtva nivartate. Only when there is a superior engagement for the mind, it is possible to direct the mind and focus on something higher. When we are engaging in chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, when we are bathing the deities, when we are dressing the deities, when we are offering bhoga to the deities, when we are cooking for the deities, we are engaged in a higher process due to which our mind and senses are engaged. So there is no time to gossip, there is no time to watch TV serial, there is no time to watch cricket match. Right? We have so many things to do. A, B, C, D square. Right? You have to study Srila Prabhupada's books. You have to hear from Guru Maharaj. You have to hear from Srila Prabhupada. Any amount of extra time that we have so many engagements to do. We can chant extra rounds, isn't it? So the direct process of devotional service is so easy that automatically there is detachment to all the things that titillate our senses. That is, watching movies or cricket match or watching anything that does not take us to Krishna. Anukulyasya sankalpa pratikulyasya varjanam. Whatever is pratikul, whatever is not in favor of our advancement devotional service, we have to simply give it up, right? And how do we give it up? By making no time available for such things. Because by engaging in higher things, we have no time to engage in all of these things which are not facilitating us to advance in devotional service. So attachment to Krishna, attachment to performing devotional service 24 hours of the day makes us automatically detached from matter. But detachment to matter does not necessarily make us attached to Krishna, right? Because I should not do this, I should not do this. Then we are actually focusing on that. I should not. And then the mind will automatically make us do things which we are telling the mind not to do. So better than detaching the mind from matter is to attach the mind to Krishna. Then automatically as a byproduct, detachment to matter will automatically take place. All right, let's move forward from this verse. Very, very beautiful. These are the qualities that we need to develop in ourselves so that we become dear to Lord Sri Krishna. Okay, Sridhar Prabhu, please go ahead. Text 13 to 14.
Hare Krishna, Dandot Pranam Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Adveshta sarvabhutanam maitra karuna eva cha nirmamo nirangara samadukka sugachami samdushta sadatam yogi yadatma dridanichaya mayyarpita mano buddhir yo madbhakta same priyaha. Hare Krishna. Synonymous. Adveshta, non-envious, sarva bhutanam, towards all living entities, maitra, friendly, karuna, kindly, eva, certainly, cha, also, nirmat, with no sense of proprietorship, nirkhanta, without false ego,
Ahankara.
Nirangara, without false ego, sama, equal, dukkha, in distress, sukha, unhappiness, kasmi, forgiving, santushta, satisfied, sadatam, always, yogi, one engaged in devotion, yat atma, self-controlled, gridanischaya, with determination, mai, upon me, arpida, engaged, mana, mind, buddhi, unintelligent, yet one who, madbhakta, my devotee, sa, he, me, to me, priya,
Me.
dear, Hare Krishna.
In Sanskrit, na Prabhu. Me means to me. Priyaha means dear.
Me means to me. Priya means dear. Okay. Hare Krishna. Translation by Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. One who is not envious but is a kind, friendly to all living entities, who does not think himself as a proprietor, and he is free from all false ego, who is equal in both happiness and distress, who is a tolerant, always satisfied, self-controlled, and engaged in devotional service with determination. His mind and intelligence fixed on me. Such a devotee of mine is very dear to me. Purport. Hare Krishna. Coming again to the point of pure devotional service, the Lord is describing the transcendental qualification of a pure devotee in these two verses. A pure devotee is never disturbed in any circumstances, nor he is envious of anyone, nor does a devotee become his enemy's enemy. He thinks, this person is acting as enemy due to my own past misdeeds. So it is better to suffer than to protest. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 10.14.8, it is stated that the
Susamikshamaano pujana eva kritam vipakam.
Whenever a devotee is in distress or has fallen into difficulty, he thinks that it is a Lord's mercy upon him. He thinks, thanks for my past misdeeds, I should suffer for far greater than I am suffering now. So it is by a mercy of Supreme Lord that I am not getting all punishment I am due. I am just getting a little by a mercy of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, he is always calm, quiet, and patient despite many distressful conditions. A devotee is also always kind to everyone, even to his enemy. Nirmama means that a devotee does not attach much importance to the pain and trouble pertaining to the body because he knows perfectly well that he is not a material body. He does not identify with the body. Therefore, he is freed from the consumption of false ego and occupies in happiness and distress. He is a tolerant and he is satisfied with whatever he comes by the grace of Supreme Lord. He does not endeavor much to achieve something with great difficulty. Therefore, he is always joyful. He is completely perfect mastery because he is fixed in the instruction received from the spiritual master. And because he is sensed and controlled, he is determined. He is not swayed by false argument because no one can lead him from the fixed determination of devotional service. He is fully conscious that Krishna is the eternal Lord, so no one can disturb him. All these qualifications enable him to fix his mind and intelligence entirely on the Supreme Lord. Such a standard of devotional service is undoubtedly very rare. But a devotee becomes situated in the stage by the following regulative principle of devotional service. Furthermore, the Lord says that such a devotee is very dear to him, for the Lord is always pleased with his activities in full Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna, Dandavad Pranam Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Dandat Pranam. So, very beautifully, Prabhupada has told the first quality is that one should not be envious of others. When does envy come? Whenever we think that, oh, somebody has got better, more wealth than me, somebody is more beautiful than me, somebody is more famous than me, then what happens? Then only envy comes, right? And that enviousness is the first disqualification for a person to understand Krishna consciousness or to even practice Krishna consciousness, right? Because a devotee, when he sees that somebody else is not suffering and he is suffering, right? He thinks that I should be suffering much more because of my past karmic activities, because we know the law of karma, how it works, right? Even if there is a person is inimical towards us, we know that it is only the reactions of our own sinful activities that we are getting, and that person is only a via media, that person is only a nimitta matra for us to get our sinful reactions, right? Whatever bad actions that we have performed, sinful activities that we have done in the past, not in this life but even in the previous lives, or maybe in this life also, right? There is phalam, there is kutam, there is bijam, there is papam, there is phalonmukam, right? Different levels of our sinful activities are getting accumulated, right? But so whenever we get any kind of suffering, you should understand that the person causing it, right? We should not have any antagonistic feelings against that person, because that person is only an instrument. We are getting what we are supposed to get according to our previous sinful activities. But a devotee's mind, right, is even higher than that. One as a devotee does not become inimical towards a person who's causing that suffering, because he knows that that person is only an instrument. I'm supposed to get this suffering anyways. That's one. Secondly, a devotee also thinks that I should get much more of this suffering. But the Lord is so merciful. Tattenu kampam, anukampa. The Lord is so compassionate towards me. Because I am a devotee of the Lord is so compassionate towards me that He is just giving me a minuscule of the suffering that I'm actually supposed to be entitled to according to my sinful actions. I should get mountain of suffering, but I am only getting a molehill of it. Why? Because the Lord is giving me this token punishment so that I can be completely purified and can completely engage in devotional service. So in that way, this is the consciousness of a devotee. First, consciousness, not inimical towards a person who's causing suffering, because he knows that this person is just an instrument. Two, I'm supposed to get much more suffering, but this person, but the Lord is giving me only a minuscule of it, right? When that is the attitude, then I'm able to easily tolerate it, right? I'm supposed to get a mountain amount of suffering. I'm only getting a molehill. So I'm grateful to the Lord for having reduced my suffering to such a token amount. And I'm also tolerating, right? When I have an attitude of gratitude towards the Lord, even in such situation, automatically I will also get the ability to tolerate such circumstances, knowing well that this too shall pass. This is also a temporary phase. This will also pass. And then I will continue to engage in devotional service with determination and with intelligence, right? Manasa vacha karmana, right? By my mind, by my words, and by my actions, I'm going to be continuously being engaged in the service of the Lord in spite of situation not being very good. When somebody is able to practice this, then automatically Lord is pleased, and the Lord will give us the strength to tolerate such difficulty and to continue the process of devotional service, right? So from our side, we just need to know these two things. Knowing well that I am suffering because of my past karma, and this person who is giving that suffering to me is just an instrument. So I have nothing inimical against this person. And finally, the Lord is giving me a minuscule of the magnitude of suffering that I have to get. The Lord is only giving me a small token of it for my own purification. Let me tolerate this difficulty and let me continue to engage in the process of devotional service. Such a person who's having such an attitude, Krishna says, is very dear to me. All right, let's move forward. Text number 15, Rajneesh Prabhu, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavad
Pranam.
Yasmanno bijte loko, lokano bijte tiyaha. Harsamasve dvegai, muktoya sachme priya. In synonyms. Yasmat, from whom, na, never, udvijate, are agitated, loka, people, lokat, from people, na, never, udvijate, is disturbed, sa, also, yah, anyone who, harsa, from happiness, amarsa, distress, bhaya, fear, udveg and anxiety, mukta, freed, yah, who, sah, anyone, sa, also, me, to be, priya, very dear. Translation and purport by Sri Prabhupada, Sri Prabhupada Ji ki Jai. He by whom no one is put into difficulty and who is not disturbed by anyone, who is equipoised in happiness and distress, fear and anxiety is very dear to me. But first, a few of the devotees' qualifications are further being described. No one is put into difficulty, anxiety, fearfulness, or dissatisfaction by such a devotee. Since a devotee is kind to everyone, he does not act in such a way as to put others into anxiety. At the same time, if others try to put a devotee into anxiety, he is not disturbed. It is by the grace of the Lord that he is so practiced that he is not disturbed by any outward disturbance. Actually, because a devotee is always engrossed in Krishna consciousness and engaged in devotional service, such material circumstances cannot move him. Generally, a materialistic person becomes very happy when there is something for his own gratification and his body. But when he sees that others have something for their sense gratification, he has not. He is sorry and annoyed. When he is expecting some relationship some retaliation from an enemy, he is in a state of fear, and when he cannot successfully execute something, he becomes dejected. A devotee who is always transcendental to all these circumstances is very dear.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Yeah, so somebody who is tolerating happy as well as distressful situations, right? Matra sparshast kaunteya, sito ushna sukha dukkha, agama painu anitya stam sthiti bharata. Krishna tells in second chapter itself, right? Oh Arjuna, it is not befitting for you to be hankering for all of these relatives, right? Because they are not on the side of dharma, they are supposed to be killed, right? There are 6 kinds of aggressors also given, right? And they Kauravas did a lot of they tried to kill the Pandavas, they tried to disrobe Draupadi, who's the wife of the Pandavas, right? All of these things they did, and therefore they are supposed to be killed, right? And Krishna told that it is appropriate for the Pandavas to actually kill the Kauravas. Why? Because they were on the side of adharma. More than that, Krishna also told, Nimitta matram bhavasavya sachin. I have already killed them. Right? Yada yada hi dharmasya glani bhavati bharata abhyuttanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamyam. I appear to establish dharma and to re-establish the principles of religion. Right? To what is that? Yada yada hi dharmasya. Whenever there is a decline in religious practices, I appear again and again to re-establish the principles of dharma. So in this case, the Kauravas have actually violated the dharmic principles, and so Krishna is saying, I've already killed them. Now you just become an instrument and then you kill them, right? Don't be disturbed by thinking that you're killing your relatives, right? Don't be attached at the bodily platform, right? That's what is given here, right? Because when one is attached to another, aham mameti, oh, this is my relative, this is my possession, this is my speaker, this is my laptop, this is my spectacles. When we are thinking this is mine, this is mine, this is mine, then we are anxious. Oh, what if my spectacles breaks? What if my laptop does not work? What if my speaker does not work? Why does it? The other day I was talking about the example, right? In a hotel you go, somebody comes and steals the the latest model of the TV. Yet we are not attached to that TV. It is not ours, right? We don't identify that as our property. So we are not attached to it. So so if it gets stolen also, we are not bothered. But we have a very old Onida TV, which does not work also, which does not have a remote also. Yet, if somebody steals that, we are very attached to it. We lodge a police complaint. We get so frustrated. We get so worried. We can't do our work properly. Why? Because aham mameti, right? I am attached to something, and when something happens to that object or to that person, then I am feeling distress. Why is it? It's because of attachment. It is because of lust. It is because of attachment. It is because of greed that such kind of disturbances occur to me. So Krishna says somebody who's taking both the situations of happiness and distress and takes it in an equipoised way, such a person is very dear to me. That means what? That person is surrendered to the Lord, and he knows that whatever situation the Lord is placing him, whether it is of happiness or distress, both shall pass and both are happening by the sanction of the Lord, and hence a devotee does not complain. All right, let's move on. Text number 16. Sudha Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Mataji.
अनपेक्ष शुचिर्दक्ष उदासीनो गतव्यतः सर्वारंभ परित्यागी सो यो मद्भक्त समे प्रियः. Synonyms: anapeksha, neutral; shuchi, pure; daksha, expert; udasina, free from care; gatavyatah, freed from all distress; sarva arambha, of all endeavors; parityagi, renouncer; ya, anyone who; mat bhakta, my devotee; sah, he; me, to; me, to me; priya, very dear. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. My devotee who is not dependent on the ordinary course of activities, who is pure, expert, without cares, free from all pains, and not striving for some result, is very dear to me. Purport: money may be offered to a devotee, but he should not struggle to acquire it. If automatically by the grace of the Supreme money comes to him, he is not agitated. Naturally, a devotee takes a bath at least twice in a day and rises early in the morning for devotional service. Thus, he is naturally clean both inwardly and outwardly. A devotee is always expert because he fully knows the essence of all activities of life and he is convinced of the authoritative scriptures. A devotee never takes the part of a particular party. Therefore, he is carefree. He is never pained because he is free from all designations. He knows that his body is a designation. So if there are some bodily pains, he is free. The pure devotee does not endeavor for anything which is against the principles of devotional service. For example, constructing a big building requires great energy, and a devotee does not take to such business if it does not benefit him by advancing his devotional service. He may construct a temple for the Lord, and for that he may take all kinds of anxiety, but he does not construct a big house for his personal relations. Thank you, Mataji. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. Very, very wonderful, isn't it? A devotee does not take any anxiety, right? The other day we were talking about His Grace Radhesham Prabhu giving an example, right? If somebody is getting 5,000 rupees more and he is working for 12 hours, what happens? He is gaining 5,000 rupees, but he is giving that 5,000 rupees to the doctor. And another thing is he is gaining the back pain and the spondylitis and all the trips to the doctor and the hospital, isn't it? So we should not over endeavor. Whatever is written in our takdir, whatever is there in our destiny, we will definitely get it. That does not mean we should not endeavor, right? We should endeavor 8 to 10 hours of work. Swadharma, time is there. For everything there is a time, right? Kala, desha, kala, patra. Right? Early morning, 2 to 3 hours is supposed to be for exclusive devotional service, Sanatana Dharma. And then Swadharma, right? The next 8 to 10 hours, we are in the offices, we're earning money, right? We work with honesty, integrity, earn money, and then we use that money in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then we sleep by 10 o'clock, or 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and we wake up in the morning by 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. Right? And in the morning, again, we chant 4 to 7, and then, get ready, go to office, 9 to even people work till 7, 8, 9 also sometimes, 12 hours of work. But ideal is 9 to 7, maybe. Come back home, maybe do Gaur Arati and study Srila Prabhupada's books, 7, 7:30, 8, 8:30, 9, 9:30, you start winding up, right? You write a gratitude journal, pray to the Lord, thank the Lord for protecting us against, all of the illusions of Maya. And then you make you make a resolution for the next day to wake up during Brahma Muhurta and then you sleep. So in this way, when we are endeavoring, right, it's not that we don't want money, we are artificially renouncing, right, money is I don't want money. No, we are endeavoring with integrity and honesty, working for the specific number of hours, 8 to 10 hours max, right? And then whatever we are getting by working in such a way, we should be happy with the money that we have, and we utilize it and we make our living within that, whatever the Lord has given us, right? In that way, we'll be free of anxiety, and then we'll be able to utilize the wealth also for our own, what is required for our bodily maintenance, so that we can perform devotional service very nicely, and also for the requisite amount of charity that we need to give, and also for keeping for emergency purposes. Like that, a devotee is very intelligent, right? He knows how much to work, how much to earn, how to live within the income, and how to live with an anxiety-free life, rather than becoming greedy and wanting more and more. That only leads to more frustration and anxiety. And health also deteriorates. Yeah. Leela Nandini Mataji, go ahead. Text number 17. Yes, go ahead. Leela Nandini Mataji, are there? यो न हृष्यति न द्वेष्टि न शोचति न कांक्षति शुभाशुभ परित्यागी भक्तिमान यसमे प्रियः. Synonyms, word translation. Yaha, one who, na, never, hrishyati, takes pleasure, na, never, dveshti, grieves, na, never, shochati, laments, na, never, kankshati, desires, shubha, of the auspicious, ashubha, and the inauspicious, parityagi, renouncer, bhaktiman, devotee, yaha, one who, saha, he is, me, to me, priyaha, dear. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. One who neither rejoices nor grieves, who neither laments nor desires, and who renounces both auspicious and inauspicious things, such a devotee is very dear to me. A pure devotee is neither happy nor distressed over material gain and loss, nor is he very much anxious to get a son or a disciple, nor is he distressed by not getting them. If he loses anything which is very dear to him, he does not lament. Similarly, if he does not get what he desires, he is not distressed. He is transcendental in the face of all kinds of auspicious, inauspicious, and sinful activities. He is prepared to accept all kinds of risks for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord. Nothing is an impediment in the discharge of his devotional service. Such a devotee is very dear to Krishna. Right? So, when I'm not attached to anything, when I lose it also, I don't mind. If I'm very attached to the mobile, then a scratch on the mobile is a scratch on my heart. Isn't it? But if I'm not attached to the mobile, then of course I take care of the mobile. I don't drop the mobile just because I'm not attached to it, right? Because we are not the owners. We are taking in charge. We are in that particular object or that particular book is in our care. So we have to care for our children, for our things, but not with the attitude of proprietorship, but with the attitude of utilizing it in the service of the Lord, right? What is that verse? Anashaktasya vishayan yataharam upayunjatah nirbandha Krishna sambandhe yukta vairagyam uchyate. Anashaktasya vishayan, not being attached to any of the material objects, right? Yataharam upayunjatah, utilizing everything in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Nirbandha Krishna sambandhe, right? Not attached to the object. But if I have the object, we'll utilize it in the service of Krishna. If that object is not there also, whatever else is there, I will utilize that in the service of the Lord. Nirbandha Krishna sambandhe yukta vairagyam uchyate. That is real renunciation. Not to artificially give up things while our mind is contemplating on them, but to use everything in the service of Krishna, to use everything. Nothing is an impediment in the discharge of devotional service. We can utilize everything in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And such a person who does this, utilize everything in the service of the Lord, always engage in devotional service, such a person is very dear to Lord Sri Krishna. Okay, text number 18 to 19. Now, Kishori Mataji, go ahead.
I can read, Mataji.
Oh, yes, go ahead.
Sama शत्रु च मित्रे च तदा मान अपमानयो शीतोष्ण सुख दुःखेषु समासंगा विवर्जितः तुल्या निन्दास्तु निर्मौनी सन्तुष्टा येन केनचित् अनिकेता स्थिरा मतिर्भक्तिमान् मे प्रियो नरः. Synonyms: Sama equal, Shatru to any enemy, Cha also, Mitre to a friend, Cha also, Tata so, Mana in honor.
Mana.
Apamaneyo, mana in honor. Apamaneyo and dishonor. Sitha in cold. Ushna heat. Sukha happiness. Dukheshu and distress. Sama equipoised. Sangha Vivarjita free from all association. Tulya equal. Ninda in defamation. Stuti and repute. Mauni silent. Santushta satisfied. Ena kenachit with anything. Aniketa having no residence. Sthira fixed. Madhi determination. Bhaktiman engaged in devotion. Me to me. Priya dear. Nara a man. Translation and purport by Sri A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. One who is equal to friends and enemies, who is equipoised in honor and dishonor, heat and cold, happiness and distress, fame and infamy, who is always free from contaminating association, always silent and satisfied with anything, who does not care for any residence, who is fixed in knowledge and who is engaged in devotional service, such a person is very dear to me. A devotee is always free from all bad association. Sometimes one is praised and sometimes one is defamed. That is the nature of human society. But a devotee is always transcendental to artificial fame and infamy, distress or happiness. He is very patient. He does not speak of anything but the topics about Krishna. Therefore, he is called silent. Silent does not mean that one should not speak. Silent means that one should not speak nonsense. One should speak only of essentials, and the most essential speech for the devotee is to speak for the sake of the Supreme Lord. A devotee is happy in all conditions. Sometimes he may get very palatable foodstuffs, sometimes not, but he is satisfied. Nor does he care for any residential facility. He may sometimes live underneath a tree, and he may sometimes live in a very palatial building. He is attracted to neither. He is called fixed because he is fixed in his determination and knowledge. We may find some repetition in the descriptions of qualifications of a devotee, but this is just to emphasize the fact that a devotee must acquire all these qualifications. Without good qualifications, one cannot be a pure devotee. Hara avaktasya kudo Mahadguna. One who is not a devotee has no good qualification. One who wants to be recognized as a devotee should develop the good qualifications. Of course, he does not assiduously endeavor to acquire these qualifications, but engagement in Krishna consciousness and devotional service automatically helps him develop them. Hare Krishna Mataji Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji.
Yes, thank you.
What is this? Yasyasti bhaktir bhagavati akinchana sarvair gunestatra samasate surah harava bhaktasya kuto mahan guna manoratena sati davato bahihi. Right? Yasyasti bhaktir bhagavati akinchana. When someone is completely attached to serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna, then what happens to him? Yasyasti bhaktir bhagavati akinchana sarvair gunestatra samasate surah. All the good qualities of demigods automatically manifest in such a person. Harava bhaktasya kuto mahan guna. Whereas a person may have all of these wonderful qualities: humility, tolerance, patience, giving charity, compassion, all of these good qualities, but he is not a devotee. Then what happens? Mano ratena sati davato bhayi. Then he is having all these qualities that will only increase his ahankar. It will only increase his false ego. Oh, I am having a lot of money. What will this person do if I don't give him the wealth? It does not understand that he is only a caretaker. He himself has been given that wealth by the Lord. He is not the proprietor. Right? So in that case, when one has all the good qualities, but when one is not a devotee, then what happens? Such a person gets false ego. Such a person thinks that I am the provider, I am the controller, I am the enjoyer. And then what happens? He is just enjoying in his mental platform. It is not helping him in the eternal, from the eternal soul perspective. But if a person automatically practices devotional service, automatically all these qualities come. And these qualities become the ornaments of a devotee. Why? Because that will enable that devotee to practice devotional service in a much higher way, in a better way, right? So that is why a devotee does not endeavor to develop all the good qualities. He simply engages in devotional service. Automatically, all the good qualities will automatically develop in such a devotee. All right. So last verse for the day, text number 20. Who will read? Okay, very nice. Two people. Okay, now Kishori Mataji read the verse and the synonyms and translation, and Shobha Mataji can read the purport. All right, go ahead, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you. Dandot Pranam Mataji. Thank you Mataji. Ye to dharmamrutamidam. Sorry Mataji, I think I might be.
Ye to dharmamrutamidam yatoktam paryupasate shraddhadhana matparama bhuktaste tivame priyaha.
Thank you Mataji. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ye those who, to but, dharma of religion, amritama, nectar, idam, this, yatha, as Yuktam said, paryu pashate, completely engaged, shraddhadaha, naha, with faith, mata paramaha, taking me the Supreme Lord as everything, bhaktaha, devotees say they ativa, very, very, me to me, Priyaha dear. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Those who follows this imperishable path of devotional service, who completely engage themselves with faith, making me the supreme goal, are very, very dear to me. Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, Shobha Mataji, please read the purport.
Hare Krishna Dandot Pranam Mataji, purport to A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In this chapter, from verse 2 to the end, from my aveshya mano ye mam, fixing the mind on me, through ye tu dharmamrita itam, this religion of eternal engagement. The Supreme Lord has explained the process of transcendental service for approaching Him. Such process are very dear to the Lord, and He accepts a person engaged in them. The question of who is better and who is one who is engaged in the path of impersonal Brahman or one who is engaged in the personal service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead was raised by Arjuna. And the Lord replied to him so explicitly that there is no doubt that devotional service to the Personality of Godhead is the best of all processes of spiritual realization. In other words, in this chapter, it is decided that through good association, one develops attachment for pure devotional service and thereby
Accepts a bona fide spiritual master. Haribol. Accepts a bona fide spiritual master, and from him begins to hear and chant. Mataji, you're not audible. Your voice is breaking.
Devotional service with faith, attachment, and devotion, and thus becomes engaged in the transcendental service of the Lord. This path is recommended in this chapter. Therefore, there is no doubt that devotional service is the only absolute path for self-realization, for the attainment of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The impersonal conception of the Supreme Absolute Truth, as described in this chapter, is recommended only up to the time one surrenders himself for self-realization. Am I audible, Mataji?
Yeah. Go ahead.
In other words, as long as one does not have the chance to associate with a pure devotee, the impersonal conception may be beneficial. In the impersonal conception of the absolute truth, one works without fruitful results. Meditates and cultivates knowledge to understand spirit and matter. This is necessary as long as one is not in the association of a pure devotee. Fortunately, if one develops directly a desire to engage in Krishna consciousness in pure devotional service, he does not need to undergo step-by-step improvements in spiritual realization. Devotional service, as described in the middle 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, is more congenial. One need not bother about materials to keep body and soul together, because by the grace of the Lord, everything is carried out automatically. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 12 chapters of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of devotional service. Haribol, Dandrat Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. So with this, we also come to the end of the second section, the middle section of the Bhagavad Gita, the jewel of the Bhagavad Gita, which is Bhakti Yoga, right? That we come to the end of this chapter. So the last verse, 20th verse is what we will memorize and contemplate, and we can study the purport also. That will be our meditation for this week. which is 12.20. Ye tu dharma amritamidam yatoktam paryupasate shraddhadhana matparama bhaktaste tiva me priya. Tiva me priya. Very, very. Ativa means very, very dear to me. Right? One who engages themselves with faith. That is what is very important. Shraddha. Right? If we perform all the activities but we don't have faith, then shrama eva hi kevalam. Right? But if we perform all the activities that we do, having complete faith in the Supreme Personality of Godhead, yoga kshemam vahamyam, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, I will provide what you lack and I will carry what you have. Right? If we have that kind of faith in the Supreme Personality of Godhead and work and perform devotional service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then we can live a life free of anxiety when we are in this material world. And at the end of this world, we will go back to Godhead to eternal service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So thus ends the 12th chapter entitled Devotional Service. This is the sum and substance, the crux of the entire Bhagavad Gita, that we have to engage in the process of devotional service, and engaging in devotional service is much, much higher than engaging in the meditation on the Brahman or even the meditation on the Paramatma, because ultimately the reciprocation with the Lord happens only when we engage in devotional service. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. So now we'll do 2 minutes Harinam Sankirtan. Request all the devotees to show up. Vaishnava darshan. We'll have darshan of the devotees at the end of this most auspicious chapter of the 12th chapter devotional service. We'll quickly do Harinam Sankirtan and then we come for darshan of the devotees. And then Shobha Mataji can share verse number 12.20 for contemplation this week. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Jaya Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Jaya Jaya Sudarshan Jaya Balagopal Jaya Guruvayurappa Jaya Radha Krishna Jaya Radha Giridhari Jaya Rukmini Vitthal Jaya Radha Giridhari Jaya Radha Madha Jai Shri Radha Shama Sundar Jai Radha Rasi Bihari Jai Radha Giridhari Jai Radha Madan Mohan Jai Radha Govinda Jai Radhe 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 Jai Shri Radhe Jaya Guru Parampara Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Shad Goswami Jaya Guru Deva Nittai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Shri Nam Sankirtan ki Jai Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Srila Gurudev ki Jai अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की जय। जगद्गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद श्रील गुरुदेव की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। हरे कृष्णा। So I see Sridhar Prabhu, Shobha Mataji, Harjeet Mataji, Shri Priya Mataji, Rajneesh Prabhu, Leelanandini Mataji, Anusha Mataji, Madhureshwari Radha Mataji. Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining. I think Mataji is joining us for the first time today. Thank you. Rishabhanu Kanya Mataji, Nisha Mataji, Vanamali Prabhu, Karpagauli Mataji, Sudha Mataji. Thank you all very much for joining in. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada Srila Gurudev ki jai. Anant Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. So the other devotees are feeling shy. I don't know. At the end of 12th chapter, it's good to give nice darshan. Right? You're talking that personal form is more important and is more higher than impersonal form. So we don't want devotees not sharing their personal darshan. It's okay. People may have their limitations. All right. So thank you very much for joining in. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada Srila Gurudev ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Day after tomorrow is Ekadashi, Deva Shaini Ekadashi. All, the Lord is going to go to sleep. Chaturmas is beginning, right? So we are going to start with the pastimes of Lord Sri Krishna from Krishna book. Please do join us every day. Of course, join us tomorrow morning, 5 o'clock for Brahma Muhurta chanting, 12:30 for continuation from the 13th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. And the day after tomorrow, we will start the most auspicious Krishna book. So we'll do Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Krishna book, Monday, Tuesday, Bhagavad Gita. Philosophy, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, pastimes. So it'll be a nice blend of philosophy and pastimes. So please do join us for all the sessions. Thank you very much. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada Srila Gurudev ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. So mentally prepare ourselves to chant extra number of rounds. It's Chaturmasya is beginning. It's not just an ordinary Ekadashi. It is Ekadashi falling the first day of the Chaturmas, right? And then followed by Bhishma Panchaka. Next 4 months and the next 5 days are going to be very special. We can become the recipients of maximum amount of mercy of Guru and Gauranga. So as much as we want to do more devotional service, right? The right time we concluded 12th chapter. More devotional service, more mercy from Guru and Gauranga, and more advancement in Krishna consciousness. So let's take advantage of this beautiful next 4 months that's coming up. And then followed by Bhishma Panchaka, and then the last month is of course Kartik month, and then we have Bhishma Panchaka, and then we have November, December Gita Jayanti. So of course Janmashtami, our 3 major festivals, and we have Radhashtami. So the next 6 months are auspicious festivals every month. So let's take advantage of these 6 months and try to advance in devotional service in the association of devotees. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada Srila Gurudev ki jai. Anant Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai.